Hello, in this video I will be checking how far I can get with every Undone 2 tower chimps combination, and as my first target I have picked Ultra-Juggernaut in combination with every other primary monkey. First of all, I would have to check Ultra-Juggernaut together with another Ultra-Juggernaut, but you can't have two identical tier 5s in a chimps game, so I will settle for an Ultra-Juggernaut paired with just a Juggernaut. My prediction is that it will not beat round 40 Moab, but we will see about that in a moment. In general, Juggernaut is a great early game tower on most of the beginner maps, so there was no issue to beat all of the rounds before round 40 with just 2 Juggernauts on the field. But as I expected, round 40 was not even close to popping the Moab player on logs, so I've decided to also check this combo again on the best Juggernaut map, Sulfur Springs. Sadly that also didn't work out, so round 40 is surely the limit for this combo. The next combo is going to be an Ultra-Juggernaut together with Plasma Monkey Fan Club. Here I'm expecting to get a bit further as the Super Monkey Fan Club ability will help with beating the round 40 Moab, and then I should be able to afford Ultra-Juggernaut, which should take us through the save up to Plasma Fan Club. For this one I've decided to go for Sulfur Springs right away, with one of the Dart Monkeys placed on the higher grounds. This one will be the Plasma Fan Club as it doesn't really care about the walls, but for the U-Jug I had to make sure to place it on the lower area for the maximal bouncing projectiles potential. I will of course pick the Camo Cross Path on both of the towers, as in case I reach the DDT rounds, I will need as much damage as possible. Again, it was a very easy early game, with both Super Monkey Fan Club and Juggernaut afforded before round 40. When the round 40 arrived, one ability usage easily broke the Moab open, and Juggernaut took care of the rest. This pairing continued to absolutely shred the non-Moab rounds, and towards the end of round 48 I afforded the Ultra-Juggernaut. Now the next thing I was worried about was round 60 BFB, which might be too tanky to handle by U-Jug, which is very weak against Moab class Bloons. I also have the Super Monkey Fan Club ability, but I wasn't sure if it would do enough damage. Luckily, with just one ability and U-Jug being absolutely broken on this map, I have beaten round 60 pretty comfortably. I had no idea what would be the next big obstacle, but I knew that I'm getting closer and closer to getting that last remaining upgrade on my second Dart Monkey. Without any issues, I've reached the end of round 74, where I finally could get the second tier 5 of this run, Plasma Monkey Fan Club. It is sadly not a tower that works very well solo, so I was not expecting to get a sudden power spike when it comes to my damage. Eventually I reached round 80, where I expected this duo to stop, but 2 Plasma Monkey Fan Club abilities popped the ZMG layer and heavily damaged the insides, which were then finished by Ultra-Juggernaut. That was unexpected, but now I have arrived at the free play rounds, where Ultra-Juggernaut stops being so dominant. I have managed to beat round 81, and with a few retries also round 82, but I knew that the end was pretty close. Round 83 was pretty simple as it does not have any tanky Bloons, just a small rush of Moabs, which got deleted pretty quickly. Round 84 was also surprisingly easy, but this is pretty much the last doable round, because the 2 ZOMGs on round 85 were just way too tanky, and that's where I stopped with this combo. That was surely an unexpected result. Also, as a bonus, at the start of round 85 I had a really interesting cash amount. The next 2 tower chimps combo will be Ultra-Juggernaut and Crossbow Master, and this one will most likely beat the previous combo's limit, as I feel like Crossbow Master can beat round 85 alone on longer maps like Logs. And yeah, Logs will be the map I'm going to pick, as I'm expecting Crossbow Master to be the main damage dealer, so it makes sense to pick a map that favors this tower rather than the Juggernaut. The placements of the towers were very intuitional. I wanted to have the Ultra-Juggernaut closer to the end for ceramic cleanup, and Crossbow Master closer to the center of the map for best possible coverage of the map. Once again a very trivial early game, as Juggernaut dominates regular Bloons and Sharpshooter is a great helper. Round 40 was also not an issue at all, as Sharpshooter does a decent Moab damage. I wanted to see if I would be able to afford Crossbow Master as my first tier 5 tower, and the answer was yes, as I bought the upgrade shortly after the start of round 49. In the late 50s I bought Ultra-Juggernaut and went away from my computer, as I knew that everything until 80s will be pretty much free. I was correct, as I returned to a dev screen of round 84. I just had to fix my targeting and managed to beat the round without further issues. The next couple of rounds went pretty smoothly as well, even around 90 DDTs were not a problem at all. However, going deeper into the 90s started to be pretty tricky. I had to micromanage a little bit to get through round 91, and then round 92 was even more annoying, but nothing that couldn't be beaten. Round 93 was pretty easy, I just had to target my crossbow master to hit strong to beat the DDTs, and then first to clean the insides. Round 94, however, was finally the round that stopped me. There were just too many Moab Bloons to deal with. Maybe with a better positioning or micro it's beatable, but then I'm pretty sure it dies to round 95 anyway, or 96, or for sure round 98 and round 100. I did one quick attempt at Sulfur Springs just to be sure, but it also seemed that there is not enough track to pop all of the ZOMGs, so I declare round 94 as the limit for this combo. Next in the queue are the Boomerang Monkeys. First of all, Ultra-Juggernaut and Glaive Lord. On paper it sounds like the combo should get pretty far. It destroyed the early rounds, but got absolutely brick-walled by round 40 Moab. Both Moab Glaives and Juggernaut have barely any Moab damage, so they were not able to even pop the Moab layer. I also tried Sulfur Springs for more damage from the Juggernaut, but sadly it did not help at all. Then I also came up with a great idea to use the Tinkerton Rocket for extra Moab damage and stun. That managed to barely pop the Moab layer, but it did not clear the insides. Maybe with some smarter positioning it's doable, feel free to figure that out, but for now I'm going to say that round 40 is sadly the limit here. Next combo to check, Ultra-Juggernaut and Permacharge. For this combo the only tower that sees camo is going to be the Ultra-Juggernaut, so that will have zero chances against rounds like 95 or 99, but I still want to see how far it can reach. The early game was once again trivial. On round 40 I realized I forgot to buy Turbocharge, but it would probably not even be needed. The Moab damage was already pretty decent even without the ability. At the end of round 47 I bought an Ultra-Juggernaut. It was pretty necessary to get this upgrade first to have a chance against the Camo Bloons later in the 50s. Round 60 was not a problem as Turbocharge ability absolutely crushed the BFB and the insides. It seemed like the rest of the save up to Permacharge would not really be problematic, and indeed on round 67 I upgraded my Boomerang Monkey to Permacharge. Now it was time to smooth sail until the 80s. It would be really cool if the Permacharge ability could hit camos even without monkey knowledge, but in Chimps mode it can't, so as I expected this combo dies to round 90 on logs, because Ultra-Juggernaut is not able to solo the DDTs. I tried some mobs that are more suitable for the bouncing attacks, but even on Sulfur Springs, Ultra-Juggernaut couldn't solo round 90, so this is where this combo hits the limit. Next on the table, Ultra-Juggernaut and Moab Domination. This run was very similar to the one I just did with Permacharge, so I'm not going to get into much detail. Round 46 and I got my Ultra-Juggernaut, and without any further issues, on round 75 I got my Moab Domination. Having both of the tier 5s on the map once again took me to round 90, where I couldn't beat the DDTs. Exactly the same result for these two Boomerang Monkeys. Moving to the bomb shooters, and here once again at best we can expect to reach round 90, where Ujak will not be able to beat the DDTs. Anyway, I started with the Bloon Crush and I wasn't sure which crosspath I should pick, so I decided to not pick any before round 40, as it's the only round where it matters. Without any crosspaths it was not even close to popping the Moab layer, so I had to decide on something. I picked the bottom crosspath first, as it's usually my preferred path, but it still wasn't enough. I think the frags are not hitting the primary target, so in this case they were pretty much useless. Then I checked the middle crosspath and still nothing. The Moab layer did not even get popped. I had to try something else, so I moved to Sulfur Springs, but once again, not enough damage. So I had to use my last resort, which was not the map last resort, but the map Tinkerton. Sadly, even with the rocket damage and stun, I was still not able to pop the Moab layer. So this is another combo that dies to round 40. Moab Eliminator is next, and this one sounds good on paper. Eliminator should beat all the Moabs, Juggernaut destroys the insides. With this combination at least, I didn't have to worry about round 40 Moab, as I could one-shot it with the ability. I was more worried about the rounds in 40s that lead the save up to Ultra-Juggernaut, as Moab Assassin isn't really great against regular Bloons. Luckily Juggernaut once again proved how great of a tower it is, and I didn't even have to retry any of the rounds until I bought my first tier 5 on round 47. I've set my assassin targeting too strong and just waited to buy the eliminator when I gather enough cash. This happened on round 62 and all that was left to do was sitting back and watching the game until some sort of problems emerge. Already on the early 80s I started having problems with too many BFBs being popped at once, so I had to switch my eliminator targeting to first to avoid popping stuff too quickly, and from time to time change it to last to fire the ability. Similar strategy on round 82 also helped me with successfully beating it, but then surprisingly round 83 turned out to be a huge issue. Ultra-Juggernaut was getting overrun with ceramics and Moab Eliminator couldn't really help with popping them. It seemed like this would be the end, but before giving up, I quickly ran a test on Sulfur Springs and round 83 turned out to be pretty much free right there. Well, I want to get as accurate as possible to the real limit, so I did another run, this time on Sulfur Springs. And it's crazy how good Juggernaut is here. I can't stop being amazed by that. This time, this combo easily took me through the 80s all the way to round 90, where it died to the DTTs. That's a pretty common end round for UJack combos, it seems. Now it's time to test the last bomb shooter, Bomb Blitz. I went for Sulfur Springs as I had a feeling it would work out the best, but there's a chance that it would reach the same round on logs as well. The only notable thing about the early game is the fact that the recursive cluster does not pop black Bloons, while being great at generating them. Luckily, Juggernaut is like a lion on a savanna and slaughters the zebras with ease. I got both tier 5s pretty early on round 59, so now it was time to wait and see if it will reach round 90. I guess Bomb Blitz is pretty good in its current state, as it destroyed the 80s, but the lack of camo detection will not let this combo beat round 90. Unlucky, but can't do much more about that. Now it's time to test the tag shooters, and this will have the same issue as the bombs and boomerangs, lack of camo detection. Inferno Ring used to be able to hit camo balloons with the Meteor, but this was taken away an update or two ago, so now this combo is doomed to die on round 90. There is no point in showing anything from the middle game as it was really free, so here just take a look to confirm I actually reached round 90 with both tier 5s on the map. Next combo, Ultra-Juggernaut and Super Maelstrom. Here I actually wasn't sure if this can get all the way to round 90 because I don't ever use Super Maelstrom and had no idea how good it can be. I just knew that I should easily get both tier 5s as I could just demolish Moabs with the ability and keep going. Now this is a record for sure as both of the tier 5s have already been afforded on round 53. I don't think any other combo is beating that. It would be cool to have some sort of a bot that would just constantly fire the ability for me. I couldn't just lay down on my bed and wait for the rounds to end, I actually had to press the keys from time to time. And pressing the keys was not even enough for round 87, as 4 ZOMGs were too much to handle by these two very cheap towers. I've decided to try some other maps to see if round 87 looks any better, and Resort seemed to be the most promising one. The Super Maelstrom damage on this map is much better, but Ultra-Juggernaut damage falls down by a lot in exchange, so it's hard to say how this will turn out. Round 87 was still pretty difficult, but I eventually managed to find the ability timings that let me clean all of the balloons on the screen. I thought this would be the hardest round before 90, but round 88 took me even more time than the previous one. It was tricky to avoid random ceramics sneaking past my towers on the last lane, but I kept on retrying and finally it worked out. Round 89 was another really tricky one, as both my towers were not really great at stopping super fortified ceramics from leaking. However, it was already close on the first try, so I knew that with a bit more luck it should work. And indeed, a couple of retries later I managed to beat round 89 and entered round 90, where I stood no chance against the DTTs. So the Super Maelstrom and Ultra-Juggernaut combo have just entered the death at round 90 club. Next tower to test, the Tag Zone. I was hesitating whether I should try Resort or Sulfur Springs, but decided to opt for Sulfur. My reasoning was that the Tag Zone should not have bigger issues with destroying the Moab class Bloons, but it would surely struggle with ceramics, so I needed a map where UJack could also do some decent work. As usual, I got my Ultra-Juggernaut in the middle of 40s and then bought the Tag Zone a while later on round 56. I picked the upper crosspath on my tag shooter, which could have been a mistake because it could possibly get Pierce capped in 80s, but I decided to not worry about that for now and just see how far it can take me. The problems started on round 87 where I leaked a yellow Bloon. Greetings to Flare Bloons. It actually took me a few tries before I could beat this round, but it was nothing too bad. I also had to do more than one attempt on round 89 as well because of the leaking super fortified ceramics. And also one time I have leaked a single yellow Bloon. Again, very fun. Anyway, when the round finally worked, I had once again entered the 90s just to lose on the very first round to the camo-led bastards. All three tag shooters managed to reach round 90 paired with the Ultra-Juggernaut. Now let's see how good Ice Monkeys can do. This might be interesting as Ice Monkeys can actually see camo with top crossbuff, but they are usually acting more as a support towers rather than the damage dealers. Anyway, the first one to try was super brittle. I knew that this would surely struggle to pop round 40 Moab, so I had to pick a map which is exceptionally good for Ice Monkeys or a map which is exceptionally good for Juggernaut. I have decided to check Resort first for the superior embrittlement uptime. I did not really have big hopes for this, and my feelings were right as this was not even close to popping the Moab layer. I have decided to also check out Sulfur Springs, but nothing has changed, still not enough damage. My last hope was in Tinkerton where I could get some help from the rocket, but nope, still not even remotely close. This combo definitely dies on round 40, as expected before I even started. The next one to check is Absolute Zero and I was pretty sure it will not do any better than Super Brittle. I could afford Snowstorm before round 40, but the ability only does 1 damage, so it's absolutely worthless in this scenario. I didn't even bother checking other maps as I knew this is doomed right from the start. Let's keep going. The next one in the line is going to be an Icicle Impale, which will surely be the most interesting one out of Ice Monkeys, because it can actually do some damage both in early game and the free play. I have decided to try this out on Sulfur Springs, with my idea being that Impale beats the Moabs, which it's pretty solid at, and Juggernaut cleans the insides. The single dart start is a bit tricky, but nothing too crazy, just some targeting micro, and once I afforded the Ice Monkey, the early game became pretty trivial. Round 40 was pretty scary as I popped the Moab player very close to the end of the track, but the Juggernaut once again proved to be an OP tower and cleared all of the insides with the help of the knockback and bounces. On round 47 I afforded the Ultra-Juggernaut and just like many times before, I could safely just wait until I have enough cash for my second tier 5, being Icicle Impale. That happened on round 63 and I was pretty sure I should reach the 80s without having to do any sort of micro in the game. This tower actually had a chance to beat the round 90 barrier because it can actually hit both camo Bloons and lead Bloons, so I was pretty excited to see how it would turn out. This combo easily beat all of the 80s, and after that, round 90 also stood no chance against Impale. I kept going through the early 90s while still not having a single issue with beating the rounds. Even very tanky round like 94 got absolutely demolished without a need for a single retry. On round 95 I finally lost a round, but that was very close towards the end, so I knew it was just a matter of getting a bit more lucky with ceramic cleanup. This was correct as I beat the round shortly after. This however took me to round 96, which was even more tanky than any round before. It seemed like my Impale is getting pierce capped at the start of the map, and because of that it is unable to destroy the Moabs before they get out of its reach. I tried many different targeting setups and eventually one of them worked and I managed to beat this round as well. Pretty crazy. I thought round 97 would be trivial, but I overestimated how much damage Impale is capable of dealing. The fortified ZOMGs popped very late and Impale was not able to downgrade the insides to a form that was beatable by Ultra-Juggernaut alone. I tried changing the targeting of the towers, but it didn't really help at all, so I must say that round 97 is the limit for this duo. I have a feeling that this round could maybe work better on maps like Logs, but I'm sure it would lose earlier in the 90s, so I didn't even bother checking that. The last primary category tower that's left to be checked is a Glue Gunner. The first one to test is a Bloon Solver and I've decided to go for Logs as I felt like ceramic cleanup would not be an issue and more track length would be more useful for Solver. At best, I was expecting to reach round 90 due to lack of camo detection on the top path glue gunner, but I was worried that this combo might actually struggle with destroying the ZOMGs. Anyway, we have to deal with early game first, and as expected, it posed no challenge at all. Round 40 was pretty easy and all of the 40s as well, all the way to the late rounds, where I afforded the Ultra-Juggernaut. Bloons Solver was next in the queue and I managed to buy it on round number 59. From now on I could go watch some YouTube videos while waiting for the 80s. As I encountered my first ZOMG, it has become pretty clear that I have nothing to worry about and I should safely make it all the way to round 90. That was indeed a correct expectation, as this is where I finally encountered my first defeat screen. Another combo with the same limit, there is already a solid bunch of them. The next tower on my list is Gluestorm, and here I was sure that it's not going to get past round 40. I picked the corrosive glue crosspath for some extra damage, but I did not expect it to make any real difference. Well, round 40 Moab has arrived and it left the map a while later, barely scratched. This duo definitely only reaches round 40, there is no point in trying out other maps. Only one more thing left to check, the very last primary tower, the super glue. I will be quick with this one, as relentless glue barely does any damage even with corrosive glue upgrade. This one simply dies on round 40 just like Gluestorm, not much more can be done about that. Now that was Ultra-Juggernaut paired with every primary monkey path as an attempt at the 2-tower chimps completion. There is a huge amount of stuff left to test, so stay tuned for more videos and subscribe to not miss them. Also, if you manage to beat any of the problematic rounds, let me know, I'm curious what others can come up with. That's it for today, thanks for watching and goodbye!